Chocolates made by the processors throughout the world are blended bean chocolates. They're getting into more organic origin signature quality chocolates, but principally they will blend. They may shop as many as 12, 15 different Ecuadorian regions of the world and take those distinct flavors and blend them into their signature chocolates. The reason the industry blends is for one reason: to fortify their chocolate flavors. Now, we don't have that luxury. We only have a one-shot chance for flavor. The industry actually no longer grows cacao. They entered a term contract with growers throughout the Ecuadorian belt region of the world that do all the growing aspects for them, and then they have their qualified personnel, buyers, if you will, to go out and buy the quality, the quantity of beans they want, and they normally import the beans by the tonnage. And they make lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Now, we are not adverse to making a lot of chocolate, but we choose not to import any beans whatsoever from offshore. We use only 100% Hawaiian-grown cocoa beans. Having said that, that's what makes this chocolate very unique. This is actually the first American Hawaiian bean chocolate in the world. Now, I'm sure you've eaten Hershey bars at one time in your life in the mainland. I know you've eaten Hershey bars. I've eaten many Hershey bars during the course of my life. And those chocolate bars are made by a formidable all-American company, namely Hershey. But there's not a single American-grown cocoa bean in those chocolate bars. Comes from the different Ecuadorian belt regions of the world. And that goes for the other major processors of chocolate in America also. If you travel over to Europe to buy the finer chocolates made by the European communities over there, none of the chocolates you acquire there are going to have American or Hawaiian-grown beans in them either. So this becomes America's first, and it becomes Hawaii's first, and we take great pride in saying that. The genus from which edible chocolate is made is known as Theobroma cacao. It will grow 15 to 20 degrees north or south of the equator. The Hawaiian island chain is between 18 with this island, 22 with the beautiful garden of Kauai. So the Hawaiian Islands is right on the threshold. It's by the grace of Mother Nature that chocolate will grow here in Hawaii, and this is the only place in America chocolate, also known as cacao, will grow quantitatively for the purposes of cultivating. Within the genus, 3 varieties from which chocolates are basically made: Forastero, Criollo, and Trinitario. You're sampling the first 2 this morning. Forastero is a very hardy, very aggressive variety of cacao. About 85% of the world's chocolate comes from the variety Forasteros. The tree, the trees also produce more fruit of the tree known as cacao pods. Once a cacao pod is cut from the cacao tree, it's known as a cocoa pod. So the consuming public is more familiar with the term cocoa as opposed to the term cacao. More cocoa pods you have, that translates into more cocoa beans. More cocoa beans translates into more dinero. So if you ever travel the Ecuadorian belt region of the world, going to the areas where they grow cacao, you will primarily find the Forastero variety of cacao. According to the barons of cacao that plant it, grow it throughout the world, it is a tree of choice because it's a higher yielding tree. Second variety, which you also sampled this morning, is Criollo. It's a rare find of chocolate. Less than 10 to 15% or even less of the chocolates of the world come from the variety Criollo. Criollo is considered the finer chocolates of the world. Now, finer doesn't mean Criollo has a better flavor. We spoke to the offsetting nuttiness of the flavor. Criollo enjoys the notoriety of being a finer quality chocolate due to relativity. Such a small amount of Criollo grows and exists in the world today, the industry considers Criollo beans like gold, diamonds, or platinum. They're going to seek them out, pay good money for them, and they're in constant demand. Now, if you cross the Forastero with the Criollo, you come out with a third variety, which is a hybrid. It's known as Trinitario. Not a lot is said about the chocolate comes from Trinitario, but there are Trinitario chocolates on the market. Last year, the industry imported hundreds of millions of tons of beans to make chocolate to gratify all those earthlings on earth that enjoy eating chocolate. Some people think that chocolate is one of the major food groups. I think that. But it actually isn't. It's a complete whole food, however. And if you eat a little bit of dark chocolate on a regular, even daily basis, it's considered very healthy to do so. In the meat of the chocolate, called the chocolate nib, that you will see later on the tour, They're natural polyphenols, antioxidants, phenolic acid, flavonoids. These polyphenols can help fight free radicals of the body in certain cancer conditions, can help prevent heart disease in certain circumstances, reduce cholesterols, and even lower blood pressures. And that's just 4 of the many, many, many medicinal qualities dark chocolate has. Now, we all know humans are unique, from fingerprints to palate. Some people say, well, you can have the dark, bitter stuff. Don't eat it. I'm a milk chocolate eater. And if you're a milk chocolate eater, that's okay, because you're getting those natural polyphenols that are naturally in the meat of the chocolate. But once milk is added as an ingredient to categorically make milk chocolate, milk serves as an inhibitor to the free expression of the natural polyphenols. So that's why it's deemed healthy to eat the dark over the milk. The operative word being a little bit. If you sit down and eat a pound or 2 of dark chocolate, you're going to get a lot of polyphenols. The body's going to relish all the nice things coming its way. But you also may notice your bonds are growing in certain areas you don't necessarily want them to grow, because yes, there's sugar in chocolate, about 150 calories per ounce. We're going to go on the orchard in the next few minutes to show you more about the trees, how they bloom, how they're pollinated, etc. Then we're going to walk back to the workstation. I'll be cutting a cocoa pod for you. I actually see the raw cocoa beans. We'll explain how we incite flavor through a fermentation process, how we then present the beans to the sun to further develop the flavor, and then I will articulate the 5 steps, how we take a dry bean and make it into an edible piece of chocolate. And then you'll take a little tour through our little factory and see the various pieces of equipment that mitigate the production of the chocolate. Now, the reason I tell on the outside of our little factory, rather, how we do all this, we are undoubtedly the smallest Willy Wonka style chocolate factory in the world. We took that distinction away from Jamaica. Secondly, we take the chocolate from the tree to the finished product. The industry no longer grows, they take it from the dried bean to the finished product. And because we do grow it and as well as process the chocolate, we're the only entity of its kind within an industrialized nation that grows and processes chocolate. If you have cameras, feel free to make pictures, questions, please ask your questions. Sometimes the questions are more enlightening than the responses you get. Now, we do have a wave receptacle right in this area, so